Leeds and Wakefield were just phoning houses, and in the end they did actually put stop to it, so it was absolutely ridiculous. We lived in this little village. Yeah, well, I think the council just got fed up with it. I think they had some sort of powers in those days, but it would have made one great accommodation because they were both very proud of real Leeds, real Wakefield, and as you can imagine, I suppose. They didn't want it to all get mixed up. And it was, my son sort of further down towards Derry, he said the amount of houses there was hundreds and hundreds and hundreds.
Okay, welcome everyone to the July meeting of Sandwich Town Council Planning Committee. Item 1, apologies for absence received.
We received apologies from Councillor Morehouse, but we have Councillor Gray here substituting for him. We've had apologies from Councillor Wiles, and we have Councillor Black here substituting, and we have Councillor Marie, apologies from Councillor Marie.
Okay, thank you. Item 2, declaration of interest. To receive any declaration of disclosable pecuniary interest from members in respect of business to be transacted on the agenda.
I have a interest in the site, which in number 2500665, which is 6C. I also have a dispensation about this, so I will be speaking on this.
Okay, thank you. Item 3. Minutes of the Planning Committee. To approve the minutes of the Planning Committee held on Monday the 9th of June 2025 and to consider any matters arising from those minutes not covered elsewhere in the agenda. Attachment 1.
Happy to propose acceptance of the minutes, Chair.
Yes, second. Second. All in favour of the acceptance? One abstention. 2 abstentions. Okay, thank you. Item 4. Public participation. A 20-minute session is set aside for members of the public to make representations at the meeting in respect of the business on the agenda. Individual representation should not exceed 5 minutes. Written notice of the desire to exercise the right to speak together with a public address must be given to the town clerk at least 4 hours in advance of the meeting. Do you have any? No. Item 5. Consultation with former planning committees. Members to review the consultation document and consider a response on the proposed change to the Principal Authority Planning Committee. Decision required, deadline for consultation 23rd of the 7th, 25.
I just wanted to say that I don't agree with this,
No, you're right.
and I think this is the step towards like a Big Brother society, because it's going to take the ability for local councillors who know the local area and the buildings and what have you like that, it's going to take it away from those councillors, and now it's going to give it to Tier A, the planning officers, or Tier B, which is really just either the chair of the committee or the head of the planning. So it's taken away. So I propose that we vote against the measures.
It would be worth giving some commentary as to why we might be against it. So I think it's clear that we need to. I'm against it in the sense that it starts from the premise that all applications must be delegated to officers without the need to refer to committee unless a very specific and limited criteria is met. So that's the first hurdle along the way. There's no mention about the role of parish councils, and we should be talking from a parish council perspective as opposed to broadly saying not happy with it. So what they've presented is a scheme detail that's quite limited in its content. It could reduce or even remove the role of parish councils in decision making. Not clear that won't happen. There's a real risk, therefore, and this is the key thing about doing that means that less public consultation, less engagement of residents and local areas in the planning process. So taking it upwards and also taking it into a small group of officers, which is how it's been articulated, means that all that interest that we have around this table, but also representing our residents, could be taken out of the process.
So local knowledge, isn't it?
Yes, the other thing that this doesn't refer to is actually the local government reorganisation, which will make much larger unitary authorities. So not only does it make the points that Councillor Chuka has made, it actually makes it more remote as well. So the committee chairman is going to be even more remote, whether it's Ashford or some other part. It's going to be very, very remote, and they will not have a clue as to the significance of anything. And basically, parishes may as well give up at this rate.
Yeah, I agree with Councillor Black on that one. The other factor that's very important about noticing is that obviously when there was any sites that were very controversial, if they were of a smaller number of properties, because obviously this has got a ceiling family properties is going to be involved, which is 9 properties, but you could still have 5, 6, 7 properties in a very controversial area or something like that. Previously, we had the ability for the district ward councillor to use their calling. Well, on this matter, they're talking about taking that away. Well, that is key to these smaller developments. So the bigger developments will be addressed, but the smaller ones, there won't be anything to address them. They'll just get stamped and they'll just be passed.
Be a 9 and a 9 and a 9, wouldn't it?
Exactly, that's what they're going to do. They're just.
So we're against this, aren't we?
Yeah, so it's proposed by council to
I think we need to articulate exactly why we're against it and be very clear.
Do you want me to list what you have already gone over,
I
or would
would
you
ask
like
you
to?
to,
Yeah, I'd like to include Councillor Chuka's and Councillor Black's recommendations on this as well.
So ultimately it takes away the power from local councils and councillors, and therefore the power of the local community being able to feedback on applications. We would lose the ability to call in possibly controversial or difficult sites, and that actually when things merge and that becomes a unitary authority, that will make the decision making further away, and we will lose that local information input. Did I miss anything else?
No, so there's no mention of the parish council role within the process. That's a real absence. What I'm happy to do, Chloe, what I've noted, I think everybody else has, but I'll email across my points.
Yeah, could you include the calling on that, please?
Yeah, I did.
District council.
Councillor Chuka, yeah.
Everyone happy with that?
We have some.
Oh, yeah,
I was
okay.
just going to say, would it be a good idea to collaborate with other parish councils in the area?
I think we've got time.
It's the 23rd of
Yeah.
July.
Yeah. No, I think we just do our own one. I think.
DDC always do this. They send us stuff and they say, oh, that you've got to sort this out, but you've got to sort it out. You've got 6 days to sort it out in or something.
Yeah. No. Okay.
Okay, so do you want to vote?
You want to vote on that? I think we'll vote on it. Yeah. But, Councillor Carney.
What exactly are you looking for?
To submit the comments that you were against the consultation with what you've shared in what Councillor Chuka was
Yeah, I think
saying.
we're in favour of that.
Sorry, did we get a second on that? Because I know Carter had
Gets the super, isn't it? Yeah. Item 6, planning applications. Application plans and papers can be viewed via the Bury District Council website. A. Planning application 25/00698, proposal installation of air-cooled chiller to roof of Discover Park House, building 530, location Discovery Park, Ramsgate Road, Sanders King. I'll propose to tie it out of the way down the road.
Yeah, it's small.
Yeah, you're in office.
I'm happy to second that.
All in favour of that? B, planning application 25/00677, proposal insertion of roof light, alteration to winds and doors, rear elevation, location 1 The Chain Sandwich, CT30 9BJ. It's all over the place, isn't it?
So it's a listed building, but it's the lesser of two buildings. It's two buildings that are both listed. There's a previous application that was approved, and that was 21000606. And this is a reduced scope of work from the original application, so I can't see why we would necessarily want to challenge it, but that's my view.
Even though it's stable, so it wasn't
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's fairly nondescript.
It's round the back and you can't see it.
So I'm happy to propose it if nobody's
Challenge that.
Second, we all in favour of that one? Thank you. Item C, planning application 25/00665, proposal outline planning application with all matters reserved except access for 45 market and affordable dwellings, 66-bed care home with provision of main vehicle access to Deal Road, emergency cycle and pedestrian access to Dover Road, estate roads parking, residential community open space and landscape and 0.8 hectare land parcel transferred to Sandwich Technology School for use as a sports pitch. Location, land on the east side of Deal Road, Sandwich, CT13 0BY. Councillor Black?
Well, this is a major departure from SAP 21. SAP 21 is that land, and in the district plan, this was meant to be for housing. They had talked about giving land to the private academy that is the school, but they had no mention of a care home. Now we're suddenly faced with the creation of a care home without any rhyme or reason and any justification or any links into anything at all. We're then faced with the installation of a pumping station, which you'll have seen that Environmental Health are questioning the operation of, and we're presented with getting outline permission for a playing field, but nobody's telling us how it's going to be used, when it's going to be used, and the nuisance factors and so on. And we're also asked to give outline permission to 2 access roads. Here they want to just talk about one access road, but you actually can't do that. You've got to look at both access roads if you're dealing with transport. Because traffic, like water, will find the easiest route. And Deal Road and Dover Road are intimately linked in this case. So I really think this council should question what on earth the care home is doing there, which is completely different from SAP 21. The 45 houses is a figure that's been bandied around before under SAP 21. The care home is completely new, and we have no information about what type of care home it is, what level of care it will provide, who will run it, etc., etc. We should really question this, I think, with Dover District.
Yes, so there's a process, and we were all involved in it to greater or lesser extents, which was developing and delivering a local plan. This is very questionable in terms of why we've ended up here as an application, because the local plan has in it permission for 60 homes and 0.8 hectares land to expand to tech schools. That's it. There's a number of reserved matters listed within that approval. So what we've now got is something that's completely against what was agreed then. But what we're talking about here is the outline planning application. So we're talking about principles. So things like the detail of access of roads, etc., really would normally be picked up at a later stage. However, the principle has been cut across completely, which is we've suddenly got a care home from left field I think there are ticks in the box about this. So there's affordable homing in there, 31%, brilliant. There's a care home for the town, brilliant, I think, because we haven't got a care home. But it's in the right place, and it hasn't been examined against the roads. KCC still haven't commented on this application, so I'd be very interested, because in our highway improvement plan, our number one issue is the roads around the schools. And where does this sit? Right next to the school. So I think we should be strongly saying that Dover need to analyse the insertion of the care home versus their original agreement in the local plan. So it's a principle, not detail.
Yeah, I was going to say, just to answer Councillor Black, nobody could know who's running the care home because obviously the contract hasn't been put out to tender. So you couldn't say what sort of care home it would be or what company's running it because it's early days. I think this is what we need to be careful of. Obviously, there's a large number of objectors to this taking into consideration. But on the second hand, similar to what Councillor Tuker said, this is an outline planning commission, so it hasn't got the detail. It hasn't been analysed by all the agencies 100%. But on the flip side of everything, we've gone from 60 dwellings to 45. We've still got a sports area for the school, and amazingly, we've got a gift horse of a care home. So, which seems incredible since as we all know, Wayfarers was taken away from us, and it's still not being used. So I think we need to be very careful about what we say. And the number of objectors, it was a bit upsetting to see a lot of them were duplicates, so copy and paste. But one of the other things is, which we can't really substantiate, is a lot of them were saying things like, oh well, you know, there's not enough doctors and dentists and things like that. Well, unfortunately that doesn't come into the planning. So I think this council really needs to consider all sides of this before we make a very strong decision on it, because if we do go against this planning application, somebody could come in 6 months' time with 60 homes, no care home, and all sorts of other issues. So, and just to mention the dual access that Councillor Black mentioned, that's been on the cards for 10 years. So the main access is vehicular access is the Deal Road, and an emergency access with bollards for pedestrians and cyclists was always planned for Dover Road. So.
Yeah, I was just going to say this has been kicking around for quite a long time now, and it was going to be an astroturf hockey pitch with floodlights. It was going to be a swimming pool originally, and now we've got down to this. The thing is that the pumping station is going to be like that Montague Estate up the British Road. The sewage can't cope, so that pump will be running 24 hours a day. So there may probably be a big tank on that bit of that land, because it's got to be tanked. So the trickle feed goes down the sewer. So Councillor Ripley,
Yeah, just a very quick question. I wonder what the relevance was of the fact it's been around for 10 years or more. I mean, we're looking at this as a current issue, aren't we? As a current application.
I think the actual farm is putting in this outline commission, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. So, as I understand, there isn't a developer interested at the moment. But can I just go back to what I said earlier on? It's an outline planning commission. The key thing is we have in front of us a planning proposal that doesn't meet what's been signed off in the local plan. So we should be strongly against that until DDC assess the relevance and the viability of the care home within that part of the town. The care home, brilliant, as I said, but it may be the wrong place. It doesn't really matter about whether we've got thousands of comments before or against it on the portal. We have to look at it from a parish council planning perspective. So my personal view is we should be objecting to the principle of a care home when it wasn't disclosed in the full and thorough examination through the local planning process. It's just been thrown in now without any assessment.
May I make the point about the care home, please? First of all, the type of care home tremendously influences the main thing they want to talk about, which is the actual vehicle access. If you're going to have 66 residents who are very mobile, a lot of them are going to have cars, and they're going to want to use the access routes, and they're going to block up the parking space completely. That's at one end of the spectrum. At the other end of the spectrum, if you care home with very, very dependent people, that affects the staffing you've got. Now, when you look at the detail of the traffic flow, and I have done so, you will find that somebody has made some decisions about the care home, because if you look at the traffic paper, there's quite clear evidence about the traffic flows, and they exceed the traffic flows from the houses. And if you doubt me, please look at the last few pages of the traffic report.
I think the care home, a lot of the people might even have cars, it might be their carers. We don't know.
Well, somebody has made some decisions about this, because you couldn't have done the traffic modelling without.
I think if it's a care home, I don't think that, personally, I think it just be...
We don't know.
No, we don't know. So I think
However, I've had in my report, I've had to make some assumptions about the number of staff, and you would be amazed at about 140 vehicle movements per day just for this care home.
Yeah, sure assumption. All right, so you're proposing we object to it?
I propose that we object to the principal inclusion of the care home until it's properly assessed from a Dover District Council planning perspective, because they went through a process without that included in the proposal.
We're sorry to say we can't actually object to one part of the application.
Well, but, sorry, yes, we object to the plan. We object to the whole proposal with the reasons, and the reason is there's a care home included, which is not part of the original agreement through the local planning process.
Yeah.
Plus the pumping station. It's
Right.
not part of the original agreement.
Yeah. So I'll second that then. All right, so we have a vote on that, there'll be a...
Right, hang on, we've got a whole number of, there's a whole
No,
number
well, we
of
don't
things.
do that.
Well,
We've had a representation. It's
Chair.
not a debate, Councillor Black.
Excuse me, Chair.
We do know.
No, you haven't discussed the road access, which is a key feature
You're
that they
already
want.
No, Councillor, please, we do
I'm
not...
sorry,
I'm in charge of this meeting. If I decide we've had a proposal, we've had a second, and we're having a vote, okay? You've had your chance to, I'll let you speak 2 or 3 times. We do not debate, okay?
I'm
I don't
sorry,
think you should
Chair.
be here actually speaking on this proposal. This
sorry,
is
Chair.
completely against what I wanted.
Chair, I'm
No,
sorry,
we're
but
going to a vote.
there is
We-
vital
if you don't like it,
information
leave.
about the
We're
traffic.
having a vote.
And
Okay. Sorry.
that is complete unconstitutional,
No, it's-
because you are ignoring the critical issue that we are being asked to speak about as well.
We've already
which is
objected
road
to it,
access.
Councillor Black. How much more do you want?
I would like to talk about the
You were
road
talking for
access.
hours.
I'm happy to second the
Well, yeah.
proposal.
Then this is not acceptable, and I think a formal complaint has to go
Well,
out.
you can do it.
This is the way I will do it.
What I would say is, in terms of road access, that will come through in the terms of the detailed planning. We'll have an opportunity to challenge it at that point. Because if you look at the local plan, it doesn't go into that level of detail. It flags up some issues related to the overall emissions. But for me, the critical thing is today, there's a care home, and there never was, and what's been signed off. So that's where I would suggest we start from, Councillor Black.
Right, so we've got a proposal and a second, they'll be voting on it then. Okay,
Can you please note my vote
so we've got
and the reasons for it?
one abstention, 1 against and 0 for it, okay? We move on. Right, item D. Planning application reference 25/00479, amended application, proposal, change of use to dwelling house together with first floor extension and alteration to windows and doors, location 90 New Street, Sandwich, CT 13 9DU.
We've already reviewed this on 19th of May.
Oh,
Yeah, but having
it's amended.
Amended.
yeah, but our objections were very clear, and I don't think they've changed in terms of what's been supplemented.
Mm.
Yeah, but that's my view of Alison. But so all I was going to say, if you look at the portal, our objection is incomplete. So it says concerns about the lack of land to create any outside.
Okay.
So something happened with the transposing whatever we
Yeah,
were unhappy
that's
about.
fine.
So I'm not sure what we're unhappy about outside, but we weren't happy.
Okay.
Well, I would like to recommend that we continue to oppose this application. I don't think this building is suitable for conversion to residential use. And the point about the land is that the owner just owns the building. He or she doesn't, as I understand it, own the land around the building.
Never have.
Yes.
Is it true?
Yes, it's the
Oh yeah, DDC owned
Nice
land
green
around
colour.
it. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so, yeah, and similarly, likewise, I don't think this is not the right property for this application. So I'm happy to second Councillor Fortescue's proposal. You did say proposal, didn't you?
Yes, I'm happy with
Yeah,
that.
I'm happy to.
Anyone
I will make a note to check what
we've already lodged, so all we're doing is reconfirming our objection.
Yeah, and I'll correct the
Yeah.
issue.
Yeah.
Should be anything there anyway.
Okay, I think we'll, okay.
Where it is.
Okay, so thank you.
Mm.
Item E, planning application, reference 25/00721, proposal, erection of single story REM rear side extension, alteration of front window door and insertion of side window, existing conservatory and garage demolished, location 17 Sandown Road, Sound, City 1390A.
So I'm not convinced that the 50% rule is, that what's being proposed is within the 50% rule. What's not helpful is what's presented is not very detailed, so you can't easily calculate the measurements of the extension. However, looking at it from a visual perspective, if it's to scale, the 50% rule is that the total area covered by all extensions and outbuildings, including those added by previous owners, cannot exceed 50% of the land around the original house. So I would be at least flagging that up as a concern, because it's not clear to me that it's within the 50%. It was mentioned in a couple of existing buildings, and I really can't join the dots.
Similarly, I propose this is overdevelopment,
Yeah, development.
so,
That's all.
so object on the terms of overdevelopment of the site.
Okay.
The extension, as I understand it, will have a flat roof. And the other thing is that I think it's an end of terrace house.
It is.
And the front elevation, it is proposed will change, which means that the proposed front elevation will be different from the front elevation of the other houses in the terrace.
So we've got a proposal and a second, then.
Sorry, who proposed?
Oh, sorry, yeah.
Second? I didn't catch.
All in favour that we do this one down? Got one up.
So the overdevelopment and
Overdevelopment.
potentially not complying with the 50% rule.
Okay, thank you. Item F, planning application reference 25/00649, proposal, variation of condition 2, approved drawings and 11 SUDS on planning application 22nd/00705 as amended by 24/00258, installation of an electric battery storage facility including installation of UKPN connection area and equipment, ground raising, landscaping and associated work to vary room sizes, the layout of access increase of size SUDS basin, removal of secondary security fencing and secondary wall and to update drainage strategy report, location which for energy park, former nuclear power station, Musket Road, Sandwich. I think that's sort of like before the battery, I think it's all to do with that new cabling coming in, isn't it?
That's,
I'm happy to propose it unless somebody's got any objections.
Yeah, I'd be happy to second.
Yeah. All in favour? Yeah. Thank you. Item G, planning application 25/00646 proposal, erection of single storey rear extension, side leg extension to new single storey floor enclosure, first floor terraces, carport, replacement roof tiles and alternative fenestration, change of use, work floor auxiliary, erection of multi-use potting shed green to be demolished. So these are actually worth. So I don't know whether we want to comment or not. So
Just like, they're included only because they have a sandwich postcode, so I have to include the one, but if you choose not to speak about them as a
Yeah,
committee,
so
that's fine.
G, H and I, and when you look at Worth's comments, they've actually not made any comments. If they're not concerned, I'm not sure why we'd be concerned or supporting it, so I think we reserve comment G, H and I.
Are you happy to vote on that, just?
Yeah, propose that we exclude these from the planning committee this evening.
it's like we have to get the Cliff's Edge, you know, because they're standing council.
Sorry, who said you did you?
Yeah, I said, yeah. Okay. We often get the ash ones as well, don't we, the neighbours? Item 7? Item 7, withdrawal planning application. To receive and note the withdrawal of planning applications 25/00244, proposal reserve matters application for the details of appearance, landscaping and layout pursuant to plot 7 outline application 21/01309, the erection of 7 number Selbyville plots, location Rose Garden, 170 Low Road Sands, that's been withdrawn. Would you bid a note?
Yeah, happy to note that.
Yeah, that's something, thank you. Item 8, planning decision, to receive and note latest decision taken by Dover District Council on new planning applications. Has anyone got any points to make on that? Happy to note?
No.
Item 9, street furniture applications, to receive and consider any application made to DEC in relation to a street furniture concept application under Local Government Miscellaneous Provisions Act 1982. Local Government Miscellaneous Provisions Act 1982, street furniture. Please note, none to consider time issuance agenda. Happy note. Item 10, licensing. To consider and note any licensing notices for Sam's. Location, the Old Pharmacy, 39A King Street, Sandwich, CT13 9BL. Application details 1. Enable the sales of alcohol for consumption on and off the premises Monday to Saturday 10 to 2300 hours, Sunday 10 o'clock to 1900 hours. 2. To enable the sale of alcohol and provision of regulated entertainment for extended hours of music as specified in the application.
So the consultation date has passed, but I have asked if we can still comment if we choose to.
I'd just like to support this business, Mr. Chairman. It's in a very difficult part of the town. As you know yourself, there's been lots of businesses at that end of the town that come and go on a frequent basis. I think if we don't support this business, we could lose them. So I'm proposing that we do support them with their application.
And I would agree to second that.
It's only to note, and so people will be happy to note it. Yeah, okay. Item 11, enforcement. To consider any enforcement notice and issues received from Dover District Council. Please note, none to consider at the time of issuance agenda. Item 12, correspondence. To receive and consider correspondence related to planning matters, including notification of appeals against refusal of planning application. Town and Country Planning Act 1990, site address, land south of Ash Road, Sandwich. Proposal, part retrospective change of use of the land to 8 number, pitch and traveller side associated development, including improved access, hard standing, installation of packaging, treatment plant and fencing. Appeal reference APP/W/W/25/3364988. Appeal start date 2nd of June 2025. It's,
Yes.
yeah, we just want that. Because we're just considering, don't we, the point now?
Sorry, apologies, just in case I missed. So we're talking about the land south of Ash Road.
Yeah, travelling account like the road.
We did actually comment on it. Yes, well, we have commented as a council, and we did object to it strongly. Sorry, our comments results strongly recommend planning application be rejected. But I'm not minded that we need to represent at the actual appeal itself, because as you say, it's within another parish council's boundaries.
It's just right next to the terrace. And B, correspond to the Welsh Parish Council, Wyndham for development of SB4 and 7 Farm. Item 13, verbal update from Dover District Council on matters related to planning, unfortunately not here. So item 14, date of next plan.
Sorry.
Oh,
I have
I've got a report.
well, I have just an update, we have, that Councillor Morehouse has contacted Sarah Platt, the head of planning, to arrange a meeting in relation to 57 New Street. And the response is that, yes, they will look into this, but the lady who they need to deal with is on annual leave until the 15th of July, so she's been told to have until then. And he's also waiting for the DDC officers to respond to communication regarding application 25/00500, the land adjacent to 95 St George's Road, Sandwich.
Item 14, date of planning committee meeting, 11th of August 2025. Thanks everyone.